Welcome, I'm Pastor Tricia Lowe. I'm the pastor here at Emmanuel Lutheran, and I'm delighted to be partnering our church with the Martin Luther King Jr. Committee for Peace and Justice for this event today. We're just so excited that we have an opportunity to tell our stories. You may have noticed when you came in that there were some things kind of hanging around. We're having an art show that ends tomorrow, and the theme is telling our stories. So if you look around in the narthex on the walls, there's also a table with some stuff. And if you walk down the hallway, you'll also see some other art that has been made for this event. And so we're glad that we could invite you to be here and also to be able to see that. We are our inclusivity team, which has been in existence, I don't know, 5 years now, Gene? I think we kind of came together believing that we wanted to have opportunities to educate our congregation about events and things that were happening in our community, opportunities for us to reach out and be more affirming and welcoming to LGBTQIA plus folks. And so we are delighted that you are here. Our panelists today, we have 4 wonderful speakers that will be telling their stories of struggles and victories. And first, I'm going to read their little bios and ask them to stand. We have 2 from our very own community, Robert Shegog. He is a graduate of Olivet College in secondary education with a master's in educational leadership from NAU. He worked many years as a teacher and a wrestling coach for the Humboldt Unified School District and has lived in the area for 24 years. He's active at Granite Creek Unitarian Church in Highland Center, Northland Cares, and the Martin Luther King Committee. Robert often travels the country as opportunities arise to promote his personal story at book signings and speaking engagements with the help of a co-author, one of his former students, and a successful doctor. Robert's book is entitled Wrestling with the Truth. And we have been delighted to have Robert speak at our church before, and so we're so glad that he could be here. He also has that wonderful table out there with with rocks and stickers and things, and he'd like you to take some of those with you if something strikes your fancy. Also with us today is Huan Pham. After the communists took over South Vietnam in 1975, he and his family risked their lives in the ocean in order to find freedom. He now lives in the United States and has been successful in his career. He holds a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering, master's degrees in entrepreneurship, business administration and systems engineering, and a postdoc in information systems. He enjoys sharing his story on his life and death quest to regain the freedom that he and his family lost in Vietnam. He spoke with us just this last fall, and it's a moving story, and so we're delighted that you are here as well. We also have, coming from a little bit of a distance, we have Dr. Coral Evans, and she's a former Flagstaff mayor, and Dr. Coral is a social entrepreneur who believes in creating opportunities that allow for the advancement of all. Her family has a presence in Arizona for 6 generations. She currently lives in Flag in the family home that her grandfather built in 1942. She's a small business owner and a social profit executive. Dr. Evans currently serves as the Northern Arizona Director for U.S. Senator Mark Kelly. She's a Hunt Fellowship, a Leadership Fellow, a Babson College Social Innovative Fellow, and a Flynn Civic Leadership Fellow. And as mayor, she was recognized by the Arizona Business Magazine as one of Arizona's most influential women in business. Mayor Evans is the first Black woman to be elected mayor in all of Arizona. We are delighted. And our 4th speaker is the Reverend Charlotte Strayhorne. Reverend Strayhorne is currently serving as one of 4 co-pastors for Casa De Cristo Church and Apostolic Center in Phoenix, Arizona, an inner city ministry. Originally from Cincinnati, Ohio, she's active in her church and in her neighborhood. She's known for activism in the LGBTQ community and has been the keynote speaker at various events, including our very own 2023 MLK Day celebration in Prescott, providing insight and understanding to her listeners. So these are our wonderful 4 panelists for today. You may have noticed that we are decked out in our rainbow garb. And for that reason, it's because tomorrow our church is celebrating 8 years as a reconciling in Christ congregation, making a commitment to be open and affirming to LGBTQIA+ folks, and also to be a beacon in our community, which is very conservative and often sometimes not so welcoming to folks. And so we are delighted that you have come today, and also we invite you to come tomorrow for our celebration, where we will have Reverend Charlotte speaking again with us during our 9 o'clock and 11 o'clock services, and we'd love for you to come to help us celebrate this event.
I have dreamed on this mountain since first I was my mother's daughter, and you came just take my dreams away. Now with me watching, you may drive a big machine, but I was born a great big woman, and you can't just take my dreams away without me fighting. So mountains raise my many daughters, some that young, some still living, and if they come here for to take my mountain, well, I ain't come here to give it. I have dreamed on this mountain since first I was my mother's daughter, and you can't just take my dreams away. Now me watching, no, you can't just take my dreams away without me fighting. No, you can't just take my dreams away. Hey! Good afternoon, Prescott Valley, Arizona. I'm sure they heard me all the way down to City Hall. I am Reverend Charlotte M. Strayhorne. The M is for Maria. I was born and raised in Cincinnati, Ohio. I am an avid Cincinnati Reds fan, Cincinnati Bengals fan. Anything Cincinnati, yeah. Chili, Skyline Chili. And my mother was from Birmingham, Alabama. And if you could have had the chance to meet her, you would discover that she is a gentle daughter of the South. At least she gave that image. But when we get home, and my father was a Baptist minister. Now, I'm supposed to tell you my story, and it would take me days and days and days to tell you my story. But here's how it happened in Cincinnati, Ohio, which at the time that I was born in 1953 was very segregated. And what I didn't realize until I was an adult is what my parents went through so that I could have the things of privilege that I ended up having. My mother decided that I was not learning anything in the public school. And that because I was taller than everybody else, all I learned was how to be a bully. So she taught that bully right out of me and put me in Concordia Lutheran School. Yes, my name is Charlotte. I am a recovering Lutheran Missouri Synod. And at that school, there was a school of 100 students and only 3 black students, and the other 2 black students were sisters, friends of my mother's boss, and they were in the upper grade, 7th and 8th grade. I was in the 2nd grade. So this would have been 1960. I figured it out one day. I didn't do all the math. My cousins told me, girl, you better know your place with all them white people. And I said, okay, yeah. So my mother told me, when you go, sit in the front of the classroom, because I've been wearing these glasses since I was 2 years old. So she said, sit in the front of the classroom because you need to be able to see the board. You cannot learn if you cannot see. And I said, yes, Mommy, because I am accustomed to obeying my mother. So I sat down in the first row, and the way the class was divided was the first grade was over by the windows, and the second grade was over by the door, because we're second grade and we get access to the door faster. So I sat down at the dividing line between first and second grade, and Billy, I won't use his last name because he might still be alive, looked at me and, can I use this word in the sanctuary?
Yes.
And said to me, nigger, you need to get to the back of the room where you belong. Now, me having heard from my cousins about white people and their ways, I picked up my little books and my little purse, and despite the warning from my mother, I moved to the back of the room. God bless my mother, Pauline Strayhorne, who poked her head in the door not long after that to see how I was doing. And I saw her look, and there I am in the back of the room, and she said, Charlotte Maria Strayhorne, I told you to sit in the front of the room where you could see the board. Why have you disobeyed me? You know, every child in that room was and I dropped Billy under the bus like a bad dime. And I pointed at him, and I said, he told me to sit where I belong. And she let Mrs. Wetzel, the teacher, know, in no uncertain circumstances was I to sit in the back of the room. I had to be in the front of the room where I could see the board. I paid, she said, I paid tuition just like every other parent in this building. She's not here on a scholarship. She will sit in the front of the room. If not, she and all the other students I can gather will start our own school. So guess who got to sit in the front of the room? Guess who never got bothered by any of the other kids while I was at Concordia? And the thing about racism is sometimes it's subtle. Now, yes, I am the Lutheran Missouri Synod, recovering. I don't do that anymore. In Cincinnati, there was one Lutheran church, Missouri Synod, that all the black people went to. And the name of it was Emmanuel.
Coming home.
And everybody else went to Grace Lutheran, Concordia Lutheran, Our Redeemer Lutheran, My Savior Lutheran, all around the city. And if you were black and you appeared at one of those other Lutheran churches, they would say, oh, did you mean to go to Emmanuel? Or when we would do track meets, they'd say, oh, do you go to Emmanuel? And you know, the thing about me and track, when I was much younger and much smaller, I was fast. And I would run. And I'd beat them. And my brother would say, you beat the white girls again, didn't you? So when we look at it, it's subtle. You have to go to Emmanuel. You can't go to one of these other churches because of the color of your skin. Now when you come tomorrow, I was looking at the clock. When you come tomorrow, you're going to hear me talk about all means all. Understand, all means all, but I did not grow up in that kind of environment. That word that, Gene, that word that we were looking for earlier today, equal employment opportunity. Remember that?
Yep.
Remember EEOC? And I got to sit down, and when I filled out a job application, I checked black, I checked female, I checked single mother raising a child, I checked handicap, and I checked veteran. I met all of their needs. And sometimes I would get a job, and sometimes I wouldn't. So I can't say EEOC got me to where I am. What I can say is my own merit, my own skills, my own tenacity got me to where I am. I had the unmitigated gall to stand up in a meeting at PetSmart, a major corporation in Arizona, headquartered in Arizona, and say to the president of that corporation, I've noticed that the face of PetSmart is horribly white. What do you intend to do about that? You could have heard all the air suck out of me. And my manager looked at me like, I can't believe she just said that. And I looked at him like, are you going to disown me now? Because I warned him when I was in my job interview with him. I said, I need to let you know right now up front. My name is Charlotte Strayhorne. And if you want to know what I'm about, Google me. Because I am notorious. I am out, I'm loud, and I'm proud. And he said, I've already Googled you. I know who you are. So when you get home today, go ahead and Google my name. And it's Strayhorne with the E. The Charlotte Strayhorne without the E is my cousin, and she lives in North Carolina. Cousin by marriage. And she lives in North Carolina. But I'm Charlotte Strayhorne with the E. I am notorious. I'm out, I'm loud, I'm proud. And all the different times that I've encountered racism, I'll give you one more. Well, actually, I'll give you two more. One of them involves Robert Shegog. Robert is responsible for me being in Arizona. Because they came to General Conference. At that time, we were both in Metropolitan Community Church. And they came to General Conference, and they deliberately courted me. We want you to come to Phoenix, Arizona and pastor our church. And I was like, yeah, right. These guys were going through the trash, getting aluminum cans out of the trash to take back to Phoenix to fund their church. I am not going to a church where all they got the money they got is coming from aluminum cans in a state away from where they were. But they eventually courted me, and I came out. And one more thing about Robert, he's a jokester. We were driving down the street, and he says, from the airport, he says, oh, look, Reverend Charlotte, there's our river. I'm from Cincinnati. I know what a river looks like. And when I looked out the window to the right, I thought I must be looking on the wrong side. So I looked at the window to the left, and all I saw was dirt and desert. And Russell said, oh, it's a dry river. It's the Salt River. It's a dry river. And I keep looking for that, but Tempe has a fake lake, but that's beside the point. One day, I was talking to Robert, and I said, these floors are filthy. They need good attention. And we got to talking about how our mothers raised us to scrub a floor. You don't scrub a floor with a mop. You get down on your hands and knees with an old rag and a bucket, and you scrub that floor with that rag and that bucket until it shines. Now, that's how my mother raised me.
That's how my mother raised me.
And mine too.
Oh, anybody? Okay, so we can testify. But in those days when we were looking at that floor, there was nobody getting down and scrubbing the floor. So Robert got a bucket, and we got some rags, and we started scrubbing the floor. Here's the thing. Black, on our knees, scrubbing the floor. This car pulls up. And I said, oh, and it was in the middle of the week, so it was kind of surprising the car pulls up. And this attractive young white man gets out of the car, and he walks up, and he's looking around, and I don't know, one of us said, can I help you? And the guy goes, yeah, I'm looking for your pastor. And without hesitation, Robert points at me. And he said, you're scrubbing floors? And I said, it's a job that somebody's got to do, so it might as well be me. Is that what I said?
That's right.
It might as well be me. And he was stunned. First he was stunned that the pastor was on her hands and knees scrubbing the floor. And the second thing he was stunned about, which he didn't tell me about until much later when we had a private dinner, he was a racist. And he could not have a black pastor. He took me to lunch at Mrs. White's to tell me how much of a racist he was and his life experience with dealing with black people, which none of them had killed him, none of them had stabbed him, none of them had shot him, none of them had even slapped him. He just didn't like black people. And he said, I've heard of your church, and I couldn't understand why people weren't coming to your church. That's just because I'm black. I've had people say, because you're black, we're not going to go to Oasis MCC. And that's the harm that racism does for our society, because they don't know what they're missing. And I always warn people, I'm not like any preacher you've ever met.
Right.
I admit and I confess, I shared a story with Jean and Stuart, thank you. I'm sorry, Stuart. I know your name. I shared a story. Okay, well, tomorrow I'll remember your name. I shared a story with Stuart and Jean about having to ask someone to leave our property, and I broke it down into the vernacular. I stepped out of the anointing so they would understand what I meant. Now, I'm not going to say those words here because I got in trouble for that one time. But I break it down so that you understand what I'm saying. So if you're looking for those $30 college words tomorrow, nope. But if you're looking for a story and an understanding of the love of God, if you're looking for a way to relate to how the Word relates to your life personally, that's me. I don't know how my time is going, but I know this. How am I doing?
You got 4 minutes.
I got 4. Mark it down. Pay attention, sir. Mark it down. I will guarantee you this. It'll be a spectacular time, a time you've never had before. Now, if you want to hear me regale about different little stories going on, that's fine. I've got 4 children, and they're all Caucasian. Because I keep marrying these women that have children. And except for Paula, which I adopted when she was 5 years old, but that's a different story. I have 4 children, I have 14 grandchildren, and 1 great-grandson. Now, my children keep marrying people who are from different heritage. So, except Sandra. Sandra married another white girl, and they have 3 beautiful girls. James married a Native American woman, and they have 2 sons that are Native American, and he has 2 other children by other babies, mama's drama. And then Paula married a man who had 3 children of his own, and she had 4, and she has a tendency to date Hispanic men. I've come to accept that. I know what I said 15 years ago, but I've come to accept that. And so we have a whole United Nations. A whole United Nations gathered, and I try not to have them all in my house at the same time. But we have a whole United Nations gathered so we understand and grasp the concept of all means all. And when people walk by us when we're doing family things, we went to one of those jungle gym, jump around, bowling, trampoline, laser tag company places, and people kept walking by going, are they all together? Uh-huh. I'm holding the baby. And they're like, why is that black woman holding the baby? Because that's my great-grandson. I appreciate you all. I thank you all. And God bless you all.
Okay. I guess I'm Bill Donahue. So if there's any questions, I will bring the mic. I'll bring the mic over to you so that your question can be clear.
You're dating yourself, Robert.
I don't know who Bill Donahue is.
You could be Drew Barrymore.
Okay. Are there any questions? Reverend Charlotte.
What was the purpose of the racist man coming to you and taking you to lunch? I mean, I'm curious why that happened and what he was hoping to get out of it, or what you were.
First of all, I have to use mic because he said it won't record without that.
That's right.
He wanted me to know where he was coming from, and I appreciate that. So I heard his story and I listened to what he had to say. However, he was also very financially well off. And I did something to piss him off. And instead of him adjusting, because it was when Art died and the sound went out. But somehow, as pastor, that was my responsibility to make sure the sound was on. And he came and he yelled and he screamed, and he let his racist nature come out. And he said, I'm going to leave the church. And I made Robert and Ken have a heart attack because I said, I don't care if you leave. We were here when you got here, and we'll be here when you're gone. and I don't know if it was you or Ken said, do you know how much he donates? I don't care how much he donates. He can take his money and his attitude, and he can go. So I think that the reason he took me to lunch to tell me who he was so that when his true nature came out, I was not surprised. No more questions.
I have one.
You know, we're it's very interesting, by the way. never knew that I had crossed this guy's path or hers 40 years ago until he spoke here and had the same picture up on the slides as I had in my phone from 40 years ago. I said, wait a minute, that's my picture. Who is that? And I had known his first husband in Casa De Cristo church, where Stuart and I had got our blessing 43 years ago. Right? So it's just like all kinds of connections. But my question is, and also, he's our son's wrestling coach. And my question is, with the way things are going now, especially especially transgender people, what kind of word do you have for us in dealing with that when our government is attacking us?
This too shall pass. It's only 4 more years. But here's the scary thing about it only being 4 more years. If you are Republican, I do not mean to offend you, but this is my view. He's surrounding himself and placing in place people that he thinks think like him, so that when he's gone, they could be allowed the opportunity to tarry. When he's gone, it is up to us to make sure that they do not tarry. Do you understand what I'm saying? Let me break it down. My daughter married a man that I did not like. And then he put his hands on my daughter. And then I said, hold on, Mary, don't get scared. I saw the look. Yeah, I am that mommy. And I said to her, you tell him a large black woman and 2 white men are going to show up at your door. Those 2 white men were my sons, and they would do whatever I asked them to do. And they both had concealed carry permits. And so I made sure I didn't harm him in any way, but I made the threat that he knew I would fulfill. And in the news the next day, they lived by the 202, and they found 2 bodies by the 202. And Kathy Hare called me and said, is there something you want to tell me? I said, no, he's still alive. You want to call him? He's still alive. I didn't put hands on him. But in order to make sure he was gone, I made sure that all of his vesture was removed from her and that she was done dealing with that specific individual. Because once a man puts his hands on a woman or on his lover or his wife or his husband, he's no count in my book. He'll do it again and he'll keep doing it again until she's dead. So, therefore, yeah, we're going through there are hard times out there, and this man is making sure that we think that we're lost. We are not lost. This too shall pass. If you just take a deep breath, breathe through it, and keep praying. Don't stop praying. Pray for the leadership of this country. Now, what you pray for the leadership of this country is between you and God. But pray, because when we pray, all of hell trembles. The devil goes, uh-oh, those Christians are praying again, something's going on. And be fervent in your prayer. Call that devil by his, I'm sorry, did I say that? Because I refuse to say his name. 47, call him by name. Even if you have to call him 47, 45, 47, call him by name. Because I believe that if we call that person by name, God hears our voice and answers our prayer. This too shall pass. Yes, anybody else?
Anybody else have a question? Saved by the bell. Okay. Coral, you want to come up?
There's one.
Yeah, one.
Why? Okay.
Sorry, I tagged the wrong person. Come on, Juan, so I can tag.
Yes.
That's tag team preaching right there.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, can you hear me? Okay, so my story is still a little bit different than hers. I've been here for 44 years. I'm an American citizen now. It's been 44 years. I still never forget how expensive, how costly, how my family and I got here from Vietnam. It has been 44 years. It was a life and death experience, how to get from South Vietnam to America. So I'd like to take you back to 45 years. That's the day, that's the time that we start leaving the country from Vietnam. Okay, so exactly 67 days is the day that that was April 30th, 1975. That South Vietnam was taken by North Vietnamese communists on Wednesday, April 30th, 1975. That our South Vietnam was taken by North Vietnamese communists. That's a day I never forget. That was a horrible day, all to us and everyone living in the South, back in Vietnam. So every world, probably you know this, that every world we cost lives. There's life cost on both sides. There was based on the statistics, the world death toll was the U.S. was 58,000 was died in that war. And South Vietnamese are between 200,000 to 250,000 people died in South. And in North Vietnam is 1.1 million people died in North. Up to 2 million civilians on both sides, in North and South. That's the day that after the war, 1975, April 30th, 1975. The day on April 29, 1975, that's the day that this picture was taken. We were so anxious, so scared to get out of the country. They was waiting for these people lined up for get a visa at the U.S. Embassy in Vietnam. The people was trying to get a helicopter on the boat. It was a chaos day on April 29th and April 30th. So that April 30th, that day, and we didn't leave the country because my parents, they have a big lot, my dad, especially my dad. You know how Vietnamese family like, a man is a king, right? My mom had to listen to what he said. So my dad he said, we got a lot of big ifs. If we got out of the country, where we end up to? Especially where we go, what country would take us, and what language barriers, how we can survive. There's a lot of ifs in his mind. And with those ifs, and he got into assumptions. Assumptions, maybe communism might be not bad, that is what it's like, it seems to be. So he assumes that, we'll be fine. So all the big ifs and assumptions that he had, it was a big mistake. So we stayed behind. We had chance to go. We have all opportunities. Like you have family who work on the government. I want to have my oldest brother-in-law. He worked in the Air Force. My second older brother-in-law, he worked in the Army. So we have opportunity to leave, and we have money. But my dad decided to stay. That was a big mistake on that. Living there after the communists took over in 1975, April 30th, and we realized that soon after that, a week or months after that, the communists is how their objective is try to control people. So they control their money. How they control money, the currency, how they control that? They want to convert all your money, South Vietnam money, currency to their Vietnamese, their money. So people were lining up to change, to anxious. They would assume that, oh, well, you have a lot of money, maybe you can change some money you can live on. But it was wrong too. People, they went up to the local money exchange office in South. And then when the people, like rich people, they have bags of money. They came in, you know what they end up? To stack of money. That's all they have. So they hit on currency first, the money. So people come out, they have much money. So how did that? That's the way they control them. The second thing that they try to control the people, they want to be, people work in for the own government, like people work in for embassy, military, anything like that, for the South, the owner, or the government, they will control them as well. My oldest brother-in-law and my second older brother, the second week, they were told by the local communist official that you have to report to their office. So why? So they know, they say, in 2 weeks, you have to come back here to report to us. And they was told to them that. That's how they control it. And the third thing is they want to control middle class and rich people. Because they're afraid that if you're rich, you can't control people. You can't do things what people want. That's how they did control. That's the third objective. The last one is people educated. They don't want educated people around them because they're so smart. They think it's a way to control rebellion. So these are the 4 objectives that communists try to control people in South. And the people who work for the Vietnam Republic government, my 2 grown brothers, 2 older brother-in-laws, they work for whole government. They was told 2 weeks after they reported, they was gone. They took them somewhere they didn't know. Their wives didn't know when they go to. They was kidnapped actually. They were taken somewhere else, and they was sent to concentration camp to their office. But they never told their wives, my sister, where their husband left. How they go, so they were prisoner. For 3 months after their wives, my sister keep asking, where's my husband? Where's my husband? Go to the office. They said, no, your husband will be fine. You'll be fine. But actually, it wasn't there. And soon later, they've been bugging, my sister been bugging them so much, they finally tell the truth. Your husband in concentration camp in the countryside. My oldest brother-in-law was in the concentration camp for 7 years. My second older brother-in-law was in jail for 5 years. That's how they didn't show them. They put in there. And they lived like in hell. They was even only a cup of rice and a cup of water, and that's all they had whole day. And how the concentration camp in communist way. These objectives that sharing with you the same thing that we did to my family. This is my home that had been taken after by communists. They ruled our house. That's why it was nice before this. They took everything out. So what happened after months? They took our country. They took stuff, and they came to my family, my mom and my older sister. We all jewelry business. So that's what they really focus on. Because rich people, middle class people. So we were middle class people. So they came in. One day they would show up. We opened the restaurant. They said, oh, this will open business like normal. They just rushed into your house. 7 people came in. Stranger come in house. The communist official came in our house. They forced us to sit on the table. They didn't know we have a round table, the dining table. They said that they had guns on us. So my mom and my family, and they say, is that everybody here? I say, yep. My mom said, yep, that's all we have. These are my kids, my children, that's it. So we sat on the table. And they say, do you have any left? You have money? I can see you have jewelry store. Bring it out. So we brought out and they say, do you have any more? And say, yes, we have in the safe. So one guy went with my sister, opened the safe, get everything out. After that, we emptied. They put all the things that we have in their bags. And if you lie to us, we come back, we're going to shoot you. That's the only choice option we have. So they left we had nothing to sleep on jewelry or on gun. After that, for just a week after that, they keep trying to get on us again. They say, oh, your house is a perfect place for meeting, weekly meeting. So they did. They used our house for meeting. They put in they have meeting, so we got there. So we have weekly meeting. They use our house for that. And after that, they said, oh, we need to have somebody live in your house. So they sent a person in that meeting to live with us. How do you feel when a stranger in our house? You don't feel comfortable, right? So we have to live with it. They watch every moment we make, every move we make. Everything we buy, they have to watch it. Even you go to grocery store, you have a basket of things, they look into see you have the meat of things like that. So they make sure that you have no money. That's how they do it. Soon later, our house being taken away. They send more people living with us. What choice we have? Our house will be confiscated, so we have to leave. And while we live in there, the top communist official keep bugging us. You guys are rich people. You need to go to the countryside, uncultivated place, farm, and do farming. What the heck do you live in the city and you go farming for? You have no clue, right? So we have to give them, and my mom have to bribe them to have them to keep us stay in town. Whatever we have. At that time, 1979, 78, around that time year. That was the time there was a war between Cambodia and us. So they drafted every kid they could, even 13 years old. And my two older brothers, who was at that time, my oldest brother was, I think he was 19 or 20. The other one is 17. So my mom was worried they'd been drafted to the war. So they brought them to make that. So all these things that we have no choice but to leave. So after they took our house, we couldn't live in our with strangers, so we became homeless. It was a good thing that my sister, who lived, we have a house across the street. So we moved in, 9 of us moved into her house, 900 square foot. So we moved in there. My mom, she was so upset. Because the house ran in front of the street. So she had beautiful black hair. Overnight, she turned gray because she cried all night. She couldn't sleep. So we became homeless. This is my parents. My parents are Jewish, so we have. This is my parents. We're taking in New Year for New Year vacation, and this is what we were together. And this is my mom upstairs on the top floor in the house, on the top floor of the house, in the Matahos garden. This is we're taken in California when we moved here. So we've been homeless, y'all. We were homeless. We've been under watch all the time. And my mom keep bribed the officer to let us stay in town. We had no choice. And we didn't have much money, so we keep living on whatever. You believe that I was 6, 7 years old, I have to sell ice on the neighbor to get some money? I was 6 or 7 years old. And we had no money, and we had no freedom, and finally, we had to make critical decisions. that big decision that we have to leave the country to find the freedom. That was really crazy decision we ever made. So, is it a choice? No. Leaving the country was not a choice for us. Becoming a boat people is not a choice. Let me start with the definition of boat people. Boat people who leave the countries because of economy, natural disasters, political, or religious. We left the country only one reason, political reason. We had no choice. We've been trying, we have no choice, we have no money, we have to find a way to get out. There's a lot of people leaving, get out of the country by boat, by seas, by land. You heard that story on the stories. We left a bunch of boats. 3 or 4 strikes. We've been cheated by our friends, my parents' friends. We thought we could leave the country. We gave luggages and money. My mom and my grandmom put money in there, in the luggages. When we came there, the day they told us to be there to see them, they were gone. So 3 or 4 strikes. So we lost everything we had. So finally, we got a seat on the fishing boat. That is for the 4th strike. So we had no money, so we couldn't go in a big family. All the kids and my parents, my sister, my brothers, and we couldn't afford that. So we got in the boat. That was my parents. I had my parents, my 3 brothers. I have 3 brothers live in Seattle, and my niece and my nephew and my sister. We got the seat, boat seat. We thought we had to stick out. It was not like here you can buy online and get a boat, right? No, we have to stick on it. We had to leave at night at 10 o'clock at night to the shore where the boat was at. We came there with how to make it. We came in there, people came in there. They guided us, the boat owner guided us to go to a lower deck. The lower deck here, you think that's really nice? No. It was horrible. We was the last one, and it closed the last latch on the top deck. Was so dark and smelly. Smell of urinate, vomit, engine oil, everything you could think of. You couldn't smell it. It was so dark. So we got in there, we got in the boat. We thought we'd make it. Boom! 5 minutes later, somebody jumped on the top of the deck. Say, get out, get out! We got caught. So they put us out, they got out. They told us, everybody on the door, that we know you guys there, no, that, or we will shoot you. So we got out up to the deck, and we did. And they questioned us, every one of us. It happened at 1 o'clock in the morning. Think about it, 1 o'clock in the morning. I was so tired, everybody was so tired right up there. And finally, my dad took the blame. They said if they asked us, why are you leaving the country? Just tell him, my dad told us so. So he took the blame, so we went to jail. He was in jail, we got in jail for 6 months. 6 months, it was a hell jail. He said he only cup of water and stuff like that. So we got that, and we got jail. And I went, then after that, I came, and we left, my 2 brothers, and we got caught, and we was in jail for 3 months. So we in the jail where is famous for mosquitoes. That's what happened. I made it quick. So my 2 older brothers left before us. He made it out in Malaysia. So he filmed there. He stayed there and he made it out to US. That's why we get here. So here's a boat that we look like. We was in the 50-foot-long boat, 64 people. And we just had no room to sit, lay down, anything, we just sit. We have to face storms, disease, starvation, and dehydration, no water. And we got into, we was on the ocean for 13 days. We got into the island, which was Malaysia, they wouldn't accept us. So they put us out again. So we ended up in Indonesia. So we stayed there a year. So during that traveling adventures that we on the boat, we have mechanical problem, run out of food. So we was dehydrated. I remember when in there, so we got into Malaysia, we found a spot, and we didn't, the refugee camp in the Indonesia was booked, was full. So we found a spot. We ended up to live in a spot that was empty. We didn't have anything. We just have clothes on, what we have. And my mom went out. She got a plastic tub and a bed bath. And then last night, I remember, that was a savior. She got the plastic tub that night. It was raining, pouring rain. We slept and we had to hold the plastic tub all night in the refugee camp. So that's what happened in my day. I saw my baby and I went out of town. So this is a refugee camp in the Indonesia, it looked like that. So we got donation from the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, so that helps us every week. I was 13. I carried a bag of 100 kilogram bag, yeah. I got back at some time now, because nobody helped. That's how we can live on. But I have a twin brother, but my small way asked me, Juan, you're a bigger guy, you can do it. I said, that's fine, I can do it. But I still now I have back problems sometimes. That's how life in refugee camp. So according to the death of the SC people living in the country, so we have between 200,000 and 600,000 people die in the sea. During the face storm, disease, and starvation, and including pirates. We face the pirates. We have some people a woman being raped, the girls being kidnapped by the pirates, and the husband being killed. But we was lucky we didn't have that. We didn't have problem. They give us all the girls and the women have to pour themselves with the urine, whatever, make them ugly and smell, so the pirate wouldn't catch them. So in 1981, first 10 months, a total of 349 boats have been attacked by pirates. That's an average of 3 times each. 228 women and girls have been abducted, and 881 people was dead or missing, and 484 known dead or in murder, and 583 identified victims. That's how the cost to find the freedom. So I moved, when we came here, we lived in California for 4 years. I was in San Jose. That's why we resided there for 4 years. Then we moved to Wichita because my older sister, she married a guy who lived in Wichita, Kansas. Have you been there? Oh, you don't miss anything. It was a whole 30-something years that we lived there. We have to live through the weather. But the thing I miss is the steak and the corn, that's it. Anything else is horrible. So anyway, so I live in Kansas from that, and in 1984 I moved. So my mother died in 1984. Her death was wished to see all the kids together, but she didn't. So we have that, and now I live full time in Prescott, Arizona, and happy to be here, and happy to see everyone here, and thank you for listening.
We have a few minutes for questions, and I think we've heard Juan speak several times. It's so interesting now that we've been going through it to hear from you how the government was taken over, and it was first through the money and making a different kind of money system. That is one of the steps. The next step was replacing people in government with their people in government. And I keep seeing these patterns. It's kind of interesting. Anybody have any questions?
Sure.
Thank you for your story.
You're welcome.
I worked with immigrants and refugees in the late 80s in California, and I knew of a lot of the incidents, especially among the Bow people. And a lot of the people that came to our center were in refugee camps in Thailand for about 9 months. And our center had a teaching for English, ESL, and I worked in the employment sector. And the people who we were able to refer to jobs, the businesses were so happy of the workers because they were very diligent, hard workers.
Thank you. Yeah, I worked there when I was 13. No, yeah, I was 15, I think back. I worked for 3 months in summertime job to help my parents, my family. We didn't have much money. We lived on goodwill stuff and from the church donations. And I never paint. I never did gardening, anything. So my gardener said, she said, oh, you have the other guy who do the maintenance. So he paint, so I paint. So I didn't have any English at the time. So it was funny, I tell you. And I'm always smile. I laugh a lot. I smile, and I always smile. And the funny thing, because I didn't have English, so he knows that I work hard. So he told me paint. So I painted, and at the end of the day, he said, I remember now, what he said, that when you look at the close lead of the paint. I was smiling. I said, I thought he said, oh, I think he understands what I'm saying. So I did that. But he came up, oh, you did. The next day I came back, I said, you didn't understand what I said, did you? That's my it. But I worked for 3 months and try to help my parents out. I think it's the immigrants. I think people don't think that immigrants are really hard workers. They're very hard workers.
It was interesting, whenever I asked the person that we referred to, the Vietnamese or Cambodian or the ocean, they always said what kind of job they wanted was assembly. And so it's because it didn't require a lot of language skills and understanding.
We do like monkey see, monkey do. You see that? This is true, right? Because you have no language, you have no language barrier, so you see what they do, but we did adapt that. Adapt that to the culture in which we live in. And what happened is, that's why I am. I was in school so long. The things I did, I got 2 masters, 3 bachelors, 2 masters, and postdoctorate. And I did that because I want to get master because it not only required me to teach math students. So I taught mathematics in Berkeley Community College at the Wichita, Kansas for 3 years. I see improvement of the kid. That's how I pay back to people. How I pay back how I get here. To pay back to people to help us to get here. That's what I did. Any more questions? Yeah, are you good?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So I noticed in the beginning of your story, you were saying that there was talk of leaving and you didn't, and it was a big mistake. Given what I'm seeing, what do you think the factors are that would be that we should get out of here?
From here, you mean here?
Yeah, the U.S.
Well, I think we're not there yet, but I think it will be, depends on everybody's situations. I mean, we love to get out of here, and I come back after 4 years, right? We love to. But if I was a young age, I would love to, well, I would. But this age, and we get only, I know you guys are younger than me, so I think we stay good where we are now, and let's hope and pray to God that this 4 years will pass. Hopefully that happens. Thank you. Question.
How have you been accepted in Prescott? How do you find people? Are they accepting any discrimination?
No, I haven't seen anything like that.
You've never faced anything here?
No, I haven't seen. I play pickleball too. Some people just think that because I try to compete. I love to compete. I'm not good yet, but I try to compete. People say, oh yeah, this Asian guy, oh, he can play very well. I say, yeah, I'm trying. But I don't see this, I see that, but I try to avoid it. Because they're no good to, you hurt yourself more than you hurt, hurt yourself because you think that people are discriminating you. Try to avoid that. I try to avoid that myself.
So you rise above it.
Exactly, rise above it, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Then if you want over here, one second.
In the 70s, I lived in Kuala Lumpur, so I remember the Malaysians rejecting the Vietnamese. And I also did a tour of China in the 70s, and I noticed that Mao did the same thing. He took the rich people and the intellectuals and sent them out into the countryside to work on the farms.
Yeah.
In the 2000s, I lived in Singapore, and I took a week and flew to Hanoi and did a train trip all the way. It's a beautiful, Vietnam,
Yes,
beautiful
it's a
country,
beautiful country. Yes.
great food. What do you think of the country today?
Country today is very much different than it used to be. They more in capital. They want more corruptions. They have a lot, and then actually people, the communists is richer than people. Rich, much richer than people. And they pay taxes too. And everything is under the table, some of them. So you have to, right now, you live what you have to. I have been the first time I came back, that was I think it was 15 years, the first time I came back to Vietnam. I see big changes. Things that communists do, they're really good at how to control people. They do. And they won't make excuses. They don't care what you are. If you looking good, looking rich, they don't cut. They just make excuses, stop you in traffic to get some money. That's all they know. But for today, the Vietnam today it's better, life is much better, but people still want to get out. Because they know as long as they live under communist government, they cannot be successful. They cannot hold anything. And people been cheated. Actually, people been cheated. People who came here, they made money, they came home to Vietnam, they opened business, and guess what? Communists file excuses, stupid excuses, take over the company. So one thing I like to leave a notion to you, with your notions, don't believe what communists say, but watch what they do. Always do that. And be inquisitive about both people. If you think about both people and you understand, you try not to be why be both people. Don't look down on them, but why they come here and how they got here out of the country. Why they have to leave the country. Nobody want to leave the country because it's a money country. Right? So be inquisitive about that. And don't trust communists.
And you've got to write a book.
Yes. I'll take a chapter. Thank you very much. Any more questions?
And we're right at the end of our time, but we do want to make sure that you can stand up for 5 minutes, and if you need to run to the restroom or get a drink or something. But we have a wonderful speaker following in just 5 minutes from now, so don't go far.
Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry, I'm thinking of, no, with one of the family. We have a family. Salvation Army.